Jay, you're with us today looking for some answers. Tell us, where are you from?
Spring, Texas, just outside of Houston.
Okay. And how did you come across this office?
Well, for approximately 2 years, I've been having problems with episodic hearing loss and vertigo, and for the last 6 months, I haven't been able to return to my normal work duties. And during the last 6 months, my wife and I have seen several different kinds of specialists and have not been able to pinpoint any type of permanent resolution to the issue with my ear. And
Sure.
The issue with my ear has led to other issues like anxiety and depression and some insomnia and just a general poor quality of life. It's affecting our whole family. I have 3 children, and they're worried when I have bouts of vertigo, and they're always worried that all of us are always worried and on the lookout for the next episode to come. So I came across this office because I was going through 3 or 4 weeks straight of hearing loss. That the episode normally lasts about a week, but this time it was a long one. And I was telling my wife in the kitchen one day that it was so bad, our quality of life and the way I felt was so bad that in that moment I just wished that I really wasn't alive to experience this right now.
Sure.
And that worried her. And that's not the first time I had thought that, but that worried her enough that she is my researcher. She has been researching the Meniere's disease, and she's the one that forces me to try all the dietary things and
Sure.
all that. She's the one that pushes me to seek out a new specialist in a different area. And so she jumped online and researched Meniere's, and somehow she came across your YouTube videos, and we were just blown away by the exact symptomology that 1 or 2 of the patients had.
Sure.
And so we started looking up DTR, and even though we found that there were other people in our area closer to us that had DTR as part of what they do, we decided that we had been through enough over the past 2 years to take the chance and risk of not going with who we felt was the most experienced and would likely give us the best results the first time around.
Sure.
We didn't want anything to drag out, so that's why I decided to come all the way to Eugene to have this done.
Okay. When you say normally the episodes would last a week, but that one had lasted longer, how long did it last?
3.5 to 4 weeks, somewhere in there.
Now, was that a full-on, were you having drop attacks?
No.
No.
That one, it was milder, and that's why I was less concerned with it, because I was getting very little vertigo, mostly just lightheadedness or slight dizziness when standing up or bending over.
Sure.
That's not a big deal to me anymore, because when I get what you call a drop attack, that's 6 hours in bed throwing up on an empty stomach, just bile.
Yeah.
Just on and on and on, and then a half a day to recover from that.
Sure.
So that 4-week episode I didn't go to that level, but the hearing loss and confusion and brain fog and just inability to function, that's what was really depressing during that time.
Sure. Let's quantify Meniere's disease a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have the vertigo and the dizziness. What about the tinnitus, ringing in the ears?
Yeah, I have that right now, a little bit.
Okay. A clogged feeling to the ear, almost
Yeah.
like there's water in the ear?
That was the very
stuffiness?
first thing I ever experienced was fullness with slight hearing loss, a sense of like water in the ear, fullness
Okay.
with slight hearing loss after taking a flight. And that's where we began the journey almost 2 years ago.
Okay. Okay, you've had an MRI,
Yes,
came back negative, it's all clear, no
Right.
auditory neuroma.
right.
Okay. What about fluid in the ear?
I'm not aware of any way to measure that, and that's been the explanation from my ear doctor at the Baylor College of Medicine, that's what causes Meniere's episodes. So she gave me a diuretic to take, and I took it for several weeks, at least a month, and never experienced any relief from that.
Sure. Okay. Have you had hearing tests to document the
Yeah.
loss?
I've had somewhere between 5 and 7 hearing tests
Over what period of time?
over a period of a year and a half.
Wow, okay, that's a lot. So did you do any dietary restrictions like sodium and caffeine?
I did a caffeine restriction for about a month. I didn't have any caffeine whatsoever.
Okay.
That helped a little, but at the time that happened, that was when I first couldn't work anymore, and part of my symptoms at that time were my neck tension had become so bad, and my anxiety had become so bad, and my insomnia had become so bad that all I could do was lay on the couch. For the first week of being off work, I just laid on the couch just to rest my neck, because my neck just couldn't hold my head up anymore. So I started with the caffeine. I reduced the caffeine, cut the caffeine out for the purpose of reducing anxiety levels and muscular tension and all that. And this goes to one of the things I haven't talked about yet is throughout this whole journey of being diagnosed with Meniere's and trying to figure out how to control the episodes, it is abundantly clear that it's related to my neck tension and facial muscle tension, because what will happen, there's a cycle that will happen, and the cycle begins with neck tension moving up towards the base of the skull and jaw, and then I will begin to have the fullness and tinnitus and hearing loss. Then that will last for a random amount of time. It's anywhere from a day or two to the 4 weeks. When that subsides, I feel like a cooling sensation and a release of inflammation, it feels like, and the muscles do soften up. That, at that time, when that drainage feeling happens and my hearing comes back, that's when I'll get that vertigo drop attack that we talked about.
Okay.
So this whole time I have seen a strong correlation between the musculature and the Meniere's
Right.
symptoms, and only one, my current ear doctor, has said, well, that is probably related due to inflammation.
But the tension in the neck and shoulder going up to the head is not a Meniere symptom.
Right,
That's a TMD symptom.
right.
Okay.
So that was one of the things that, once we started watching your online material, made us really believe that this would probably work for me.
It's interesting, of the 4 things that I listed off to you, which was the tinnitus, the vertigo, all of that, those are also TMD symptoms.
Mhm.
So but TMD is not recommended to be ruled out according to that diagnostic
Right.
criteria. Why? I mean, it's a rhetorical
Yeah.
question,
Yeah.
but I'm like, how do we make sure that we're not misdiagnosing these patients?
Right.
Because the operations to correct this are your last line of defense. Again, we start off with simple things. Dietary changes.
Right.
Okay, that didn't work. Diuretics. Okay, well, I really don't notice a difference. Okay, then what? Gentamicin injections into the inner ear
I've had that.
and then
I got a little relief from that
steroids.
the first couple times that I got those injections, but the last episode that I had was that I got the injection at the beginning of that 4 weeks, and it didn't help. I had 3 more weeks of problem.
Sure. Okay.
And that helped that helped contribute to the hopelessness that I felt at the end of that, was that okay, now the injections aren't even working. And that's what you're told when you are diagnosed with Meniere's, is that the best you can do is figure out how to manage this to a few episodes a year. That's the best you can expect.
Well, here's what I'm here to tell you, and what I firmly believe. Number one, I don't know how this is going to work for you, but I've seen this a couple of times.
Right.
And you're not crazy. I think you've been misdiagnosed. I think your symptoms are very real, and the impact that it has on you, people that don't have it can't even fathom
That's right.
what's going on with
That's
you.
right. Yep.
Yeah, some things.
Well, I want to say one thing. I've never had so thorough of investigation and so much empirical evidence to show why we're doing what we're doing in any medical procedure that I've ever had, as I've had here today, with all the scans and X-rays and all the different. And you just explained so much in so much detail that I really feel like I know what we're doing and why we're doing it and why I can expect the results that I can expect and why I may not get the results that I wish I could get.
Sure.
So I feel very confident in all the money I spent to come out here and everything.
Sure.
I feel good about it because of how thorough we've been today. So, and we haven't even done the treatment yet.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. Okay, Jay, we just completed round 1 of DTR, and I wanted to get a feel for, what do you notice?
Right off the bat, I notice less tension in both the jaw and the facial muscles on this side, because I typically have a lot of tension in these muscles and I can relax it only with a lot of concentration, but right now it just feels like there's little to no tension over there.
Probably still tender if you mash on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the jaw, it feels, everything just feels softer and freer over there on that side. And for the first time in my life that I can remember, my bite is even and I can find my bite. I know what my bite's supposed to be. And we did the test with the gum a little while ago and I could feel both sides making contact, which I never felt before. So, and what's funny is that you're telling me that these are normal.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to feel for most people, normally. And so I don't have any experience with normal, is what I'm realizing. So I do feel a big difference. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And I had tempered my expectations, but it's far exceeded my expectations.
Well, it's interesting when you, as a patient, understand the metrics by which the doctor
Right.
is measuring. Then you
Yep.
do the therapy, and then right in front of you, like, I didn't know how this was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand what I'm explaining, so like,
Exactly.
I can't bullshit you,
Yep.
right? So by every metric that we measured, had a physiologic response in the muscles. Your joints got quieter.
Right.
Your bite is balanced, and your disclusion times were reduced. Mastication was improved,
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't left the office yet on the first visit.
Right.
Very few therapies have that kind of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
As we're talking, my muscles, they feel more and more restful. Like they were fatigued to a level that I didn't know, is what I'm starting to figure out as we're sitting here. I just feel more and more relaxation. So it's really amazing. It's I'm really happy.
God bless you, man. Good for you. Good for your family.
Yep.
Good for your marriage
Mm-hmm.
and your quality of life.
Yep.
I'm excited for you. You got lots to experience,
Yeah.
and be grateful. It didn't take you 10 years to figure it out.
Exactly.
So.
Yep.
Jay, welcome back. You're here after having round 1 of DTR, and it is Monday. We finished up last week with you. I just wanted to get a feel for what is it you've noticed since leaving the office and going home, try to use the jaw, chew, sleep, all that good stuff. What's different?
So we did the first round on Wednesday, and I immediately had major relief. I went back and ate something, and I noticed right away that I chewed on both sides naturally without thinking about it.
Sure.
Before, I think I was chewing on the right side mostly, and I could switch to the left side, but I just thought it was, it was just striking right away that I was, without any effort, was chewing on both sides. I also, when I was in the office, I had already felt tension relief on not only my jaw, but my neck muscles and facial muscles around that area. And that continued to improve throughout Wednesday and Thursday. I normally have buildup of tension in my upper neck muscles from the time that I wake up in the morning. It only takes about 2 hours, 3 hours to be at maximum tension, and then that's when I start to have ear problems. That never happened. Thursday, I woke up and my neck just felt relaxed the whole time. Then Friday, I woke up and I did notice that it felt like I had been clenching, because on both sides, instead of just the right side, my teeth were a little tender. I could just feel that I had been pressing on them.
Sure.
Then I progressed to do that more and more throughout the weekend. So Saturday, felt like I was clenching more. Sunday felt like I was clenching more, and then today, we're about to do the treatment today. So I can definitely see why you have patients back so quickly, is because your body wants to readjust to its bad habits so quickly.
Sure.
And I can't wait to have, I told you this on Friday when you called, I can't wait to have the next treatment and the subsequent one. So,
Sure.
But I do It does a lot for you mentally. I feel like I'm ready to go back to Houston and hit the ground running and be effective and not have anxiety about my symptoms creeping back up on me.
Sure.
Even though I know that some tension will creep back in because we need to do more treatments. But I feel like I'm ready to be effective in life, and I can't wait to get back.
Feel like you have an answer?
I do, yeah.
And it's early. I mean, we don't know that it's going to be a total answer, but answer enough that you're looking forward to treatments at least.
Exactly. And it's also confirming more the relationship between my Meniere's symptoms and the jaw, because as the days go by and I need to be adjusted and I can feel that more and more, the ear is starting to act up a little bit as the days go by. So for me, I do feel like I found an answer because I can see correlation that looks like causation to me. The most striking thing was the relief of the tension buildup in everything over here, and my jaw not trembling anymore when I would hold something in my teeth. Like,
sure.
I like to have a cigar once in a while, and if I hold it in my teeth, my jaw would tremble. I have a breathing device I have to hold in my teeth for a time, and that trembling, I think, was the muscles just being tired from just being tense all the time. And once you relieve that tension, you know, it's like trying to hold a weight in one position all day. And you're gonna, when you finally set that weight down, you're going to have this massive relief. And I think that's what happens, and that's what it feels like. It feels like this massive weight is gone on the side that you're having a problem with. So,
what have you noticed? What's changed? What's better? What's the same since it was a month ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so take me through what you notice.
Well, I haven't had any episodes of hearing loss all the way. I've had just a little bit of reduced hearing and really minor tinnitus.
Okay.
Zero vertigo. I don't even worry about it anymore. It's changed. That part's really changed my life because I don't have any anxiety about having another Meniere's attack. And so I've been way more productive, way happier, and my wife too. It's just really improved our family life. I don't have any jaw soreness when I wake up. I don't have any tooth soreness when I wake up. None of those things. Yeah, the only thing that I still have is neck problems, but that's a physical therapy thing that I'm working with on that, caused by posture mostly. So from the standpoint of what I came here for, I feel like it's exceeded my expectations, really.
Okay. Congratulations. Good. I mean, like, I never know how they're going to go until we actually just do it.
Right.
And so quality of life has improved
Greatly.
What's the wife think? What does she think? Because she didn't come with you.
Right.
Right? So, like, all she knows is her husband leaves Texas, goes to Oregon, comes back, and...
Well, but she's the one that found you, and she's the one that... So she did all the learning first on the process as much as you have that's available online. So she knew what I was going for, and we both tempered our expectations, you know, because
Sure.
You don't want to be let down, so you don't want to build yourself so high up in expectation. And she's just as happy as even more so than me, because she was the one caring for me through all the ups and downs, you know. And she just her life is more joyful and energetic now too, because she's not having to care for me with those symptoms.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And I think that's minimized. So like,
Mm-hmm.
patients generally are the ones who watch the videos and come in. I think it's underplayed a lot how it affects family members who are not suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, directly. They are taking care of people, and it's like, you look fine, but you're in bed all day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like she was very understanding. But
Yeah.
I know marriages have ended over stuff like this.
I could see
Where
that.
husbands have left wives, wives have left husbands, like, so that builds its own frustrations and stress into a
Mhm.
relationship. So it makes me happy to think that, I'm impacting someone's life who I've never seen,
Right.
never met,
Right.
never treated, and she's like, I got my husband back,
Yep.
So you're not done.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a hell of a first month.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't go take a step or two back.
Right.
That is part of this thing. It oscillates.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I also, when I got back, about a week after I got back, I went to the ear specialist, and I told her what happened, and she said, "Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I messed up. I should have checked TMJ. We should have talked about TMJ." So she goes, "That makes sense. I'm really glad that's working for you, and see you back in 6 months."
She said more than what they tell me.
Yeah, I know.
Because they tell me
So-
I'm like full of shit. They tell me it's placebo.
I wanted to let you know that she was really open-minded. She wanted your information, and so she could look up DTR, and
Sure.
so a lot of people wanted to
Anything.
hear about it when I got back to Houston.
Yeah.
My physical therapy, everybody in the physical therapy place, I had to tell the story like 5 times. They're all happy. They're all happy because they actually do understand neuromuscular issues.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Jay, you're back with us.
Yep.
This is your 3rd visit? 4th visit to the office, but 3rd trip. Is that
Correct.
fair? Okay. So I just kind of want you to bring me up to speed with what you've noticed with your symptoms and how the things have progressed for you over the past few months.
Okay, so my biggest issue was Meniere's attacks. I haven't had a Meniere's attack since really probably right before I came to this office, so we're talking 5.5 months.
Halloween?
No, definitely closer to Christmas. So 5.5 months, almost 6 months. I haven't had any severe dizziness. The most I've had is a little lightheadedness. I haven't had any major hearing loss like I used to in my right ear.
That was kind of cyclical, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still have neck and shoulder tension, but it doesn't get so out of control that that it leads to one of those attacks.
Right.
And all my facial muscles up in here were unable to relax, and now I don't have that tightness anymore, even when I get into a little cycle of neck tension. So everything's under control. And because of that, I feel confident to go back to work doing the same job that I was, which is a high stress, high anxiety job.
Sure.
But because I have all this under control, I feel like I can manage it. So it's kind of like I'm going backwards through the symptoms that led up to that. So now when I came to you, I no longer had jaw popping when I would open my mouth because everything was so tensed up that it wouldn't, whatever causes that, it wasn't there anymore. Now, every once in a while, if things get a little tense, I might have a jaw pop when I open wide.
Sure.
But those are becoming less frequent too, as I learn to manage my neck and shoulder tension more and more. It is definitely a backwards order. I had my worst symptom was vertigo, then hearing loss. Well, haven't had vertigo since December, and the hearing loss is I can even barely tell if I have reduced hearing at all sometimes.
Sure.
And then tinnitus was before hearing loss, and now I get a little bit of tinnitus every now and then, but that's getting less and less. And then the jaw popping was before that, and now I'm getting jaw popping again, but it's becoming less and less. So
Okay.
it really is like going backwards.
So I have a couple of questions for you, because one of the things that I get in the feedback is when I speak to an ENT and I say, hey, I've got your patient Jay in my office. I'm suspecting this is TMD. It's not Meniere's. We're going to do a TMD therapy, occlusal therapy. Well, that's not going to work. It just won't work. I'm like, okay, well, we don't have anything to lose by doing it.
Right.
My diagnostic criteria says there's an issue with the bite, the occlusion. Patient selected to move forward. That's fine. We get to this point and call the physician back and say, hey, your patient is now telling me they're not having the tinnitus, they're having mild fluctuations in hearing loss, the vertigo's gone, we have light dizziness, lightheadedness, and what do you say to that? And so they'll say, well, the Meniere's will spontaneously resolve and come back, which interestingly enough, TMD does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it peaks and valleys. And you could go years, months, weeks of feeling really, really good, and then all of a sudden, here it comes again full force, if not even worse than you had it before. So, my question to you is, do you think that this is just a spontaneous remission of the symptoms or the Meniere's disease that you had?
No. For one thing, what we just talked about with the going backwards through the symptom order, I'm going backwards faster than I progressed in having those symptoms. Way enough. Faster. It took years to get from tension buildup in my neck and then to jaw popping when I would try to eat something big. That took years to get to. And then to Meniere's attacks, and that was the past 2 years of buildup. We're undoing all that in 6 months.
Yeah.
And we're talking, honestly, I remember 10 years ago beginning to feel neck pain and soreness, and then the jaw popping every now and then. So I don't see a spontaneous pattern there at all. It looks like a definite correlation, if not causation, right there.
What do you notice as far as your husband pre and post this therapy?
Pre-therapy, it was like he was giving up. Like he was hopeless. He didn't see a future, I believe, in being a provider. Sure. And being a man, a husband. Now he's back to the Jay that I met, that I remember, and there is a future. Like before, we didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if he was going to return to work. I didn't know what our life was going to be. Sure. So I'm very grateful.
Huge change.
Huge change. Dramatic. Big. I'm so happy. I'm very happy. I got my husband back.
That's life-changing. Mm-hmm. For both of you.
And another proof is we just drove for 4 days from Houston to here.
Oh my God. That's a long drive.
Exactly 1 year ago, we drove from Houston to Lake Havasu, Arizona to see my niece graduate.
Sure.
And that was the nail in my coffin as far as when we got back from that trip, my symptoms were so out of control that was it. That I worked for 2 weeks and that was it. I had to go out for 10 months.
Okay.
So this trip was a major test. Can I make it without the symptoms spiraling out of control? And yeah, I've been in control. All that driving distance, I get the neck tension and the back thing, but I can do things to adjust my posture and get out and take a break and reset and maintain. No Meniere's attacks, none whatsoever. No hearing loss. Able to pop my ears through all the elevation changes, no problem. I mean, it's night and day from the last time I took a long road trip.
You glad you had it done?
Yeah. Like she said, we got both of our lives back.
Control. Your control back.
Mm-hmm.
Good.